dreaming. 'Cause now that I'm here, what I feel motivates me with reason. I guess I've been dreaming. 'Cause now that I'm woke, everything that I see ain't what it seeming. I guess I've been dreaming. 'Cause now that I'm here, what I feel motivates me with reason. I guess I've been dreaming.
Oh, we in this mother. Why we in here? What's peace and love to all the guys and goddesses and the high vibrate species on the planet. What it is, what it do, good people. Salute to you. Feathers is up. Y'all know what I mean? Pressure, pressure, pressure. On your ace, boy. You already know. Shuttle out. Come on in. I'm going to invite y'all in first. You know what I'm saying? Get your ace on in the back, man. You know, somebody keep your mouth shut. Because we finna go through this. You feel me? Academics, peace and love to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all come on in. If you're vibing high, especially, come on in. If you got a low vibe today, press yourself at the door. Say I'm finna vibe high. We gonna hit the like button. We gonna spread that positive energies. You know what I'm saying? Hitting the like button. You feel me? And the subscribe button and the share button. You know what I'm talking about? And we gonna help ourselves in the class out with the algorithm. And then that's gonna lift your vibration. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna make you feel better. It's gonna make you feel better that you like something. You know what I'm saying? Man, y'all come on up in this thing, man. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Yes, we got SCP dogs or dog SCPs. You know what I'm saying? We had the cats yesterday. Or whenever it dropped. You know what I'm saying? We had the cats. You feel me? We had literary. You feel me? Now we got some dogs. Alright? So we seen what the cats are. Dogs are not like cats. And I know I said what I said about the dogs, you feel me, on the last one. And I stand on it. They goofy than a summer month. You feel me? Cause like you can beat, you know what I'm saying? You can discipline them, you can beat them, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff. For some reason, you can tell them to scat, gone, get away. You know what I'm saying? Do all types of harmful things to this animal. And for some reason, the stubborn son of a gun just keeps coming back and tearing up the trash. Now, I don't know what it is about these dogs that just want to just tear stuff up, okay? So, but I have had several dogs in my life. I currently have some right now in my life. You know what I'm saying? They do a great job with protecting. They will get on your ace. They are cerebral. Yes, sir. You know what I'm talking about? I do feel like it's a companion from a past life. You know what I'm saying? Because we just have a connection. I don't know what it is about. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely have a connection. But that's not taking anything from the spiritual connection that I have with my cats. All right. So, and they get along perfectly fine. They sleep with each other. You know what I'm saying? Chill with each other. All that good stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, we good over here. We're one big happy family. Happy with it. Yeah, Nick. But anyways, enough of the jargon. Academics, we don't have any numerology, so we're gonna, I guess, get to what it is that we do. So I hope you have what you need, because I do. And without further ado, again, we're gonna get to what it is that we do. And we got a good 22 master number in the tank. So y'all ready? Bust. Am I blue lit?
Dog
blue
SCPs.
Oh, we lit.
The normal blended with the paranormal is common enough in the SCP universe, so it's no surprise at all that there are quite a few anomalies based off of canines, ranging from the wholesome to the horrific. For the most part, I'll be looking at the more wholesome side of things today, and the only thing that these SCPs really have in common is that they're about dogs. This is just a smattering of some of the more interesting dog SCPs that I've picked, but there are dozens across the wiki. Let's start with an especially...
I'm sure. Would any of them happen to be skinwalkers, as everybody like to proclaim everything to be? I'm just asking. Because like I told y'all, my disposition, you know what I'm saying? How we actually got here today, it was based off that skinwalker. You feel me? So we didn't find any cat. Now there was a chance that it could have been, but then that fell through. And then there was a chance that it was going to be other things, but that kind of fell through. So I'm still left with the extraterrestrial beings with the cats. So let's see if the dogs are going to be the same way.
The loyal dog, SCP-1111, an entity that visually appears like a mix between a Labrador Retriever and a German Shepherd.
1111. Okay, y'all. Okay, y'all. I guess they asking for it. They asking for it. So I give you some. I give you some. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. We're gonna do it real fast. Number one, because I already had it out. Number one, 1111. Masculine in energy, represents the sun. Exposure, Leo in the 5th house. Alright. Ambitious, daring, commanding, original, inventive, forceful, generous, independent, courageous, a leader, generous, action-oriented, fearless, aggressive, dynamic, bold, strong, capable of mental foresight. That's the positives. The negatives, arrogant, bossy, selfish, egotistical, cold, bullying, manipulating, stubborn, domineering, dependent, narrow, demanding, antagonizing, insulting, and a sore loser. Alright. We'll just skip the occupations because we're talking about dogs. I don't see anything that resembles anything that would be directed toward, well, doctor, I guess, you know what I'm saying, vet, scientist, yeah, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Let's see, what else we got? What else we got? What else we got? Some tidbits, rulership over large and imposing buildings, official residences. Okay. Headquarter, royal palaces, hills, forests, convention halls, places where you can find a dog. The colors are orange, yellow, and brown families. Yeah. Active principle of self. The magician card would be the tarot, and that represents. How these things get out of order all of a sudden? I just saw the image. Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. All right. Acts as a bridge between astral realm and earth. Great energy and potential. A path guide pointing out directions and ideas, new beginnings, opportunities, and talents. All right. So that's the numerology, even though I just said we didn't have any. But when he hit us with the 1111, you know what I'm talking about, I figured I'd just go ahead and throw y'all something out there, right? All right. So 1111. We're dealing with, and sitting there reading it, definitely only positive in dogs, you know what I'm saying, or could be labeled a lot of those things. Negative as well. But I'm interested in the actual tarot aspect of it. This bridge between astral realm and earth, because that's definitely the cats. All right. So let's see what these dogs got.
Alongside it is another entity, this one a man hanging by a noose from a tree, constantly twitching and jerking in a manner consistent with someone being hanged. Most of the anomalous effects have to do with the distance between these two entities. The further away the dog is from the man, the stronger, faster, and larger it becomes. Its fur and eyes also glow the farther away it becomes, and at distances of over 500 meters away, it becomes translucent. The man's jerks and gasping noises will decrease in intensity the further away the dog is. When left undisturbed...
Alright, y'all. Last pause for now. There it is. That's the magician card all day. You know what I'm saying? We just hit it. It's a bridge between the astral realm and earth. So the further he gets away from it, the more, you know what I'm saying? What's the word can I say? What word can I use? The more metaphysical the thing becomes. You know what I'm saying?
Disturbed, the dog will simply lie beneath the man with its eyes open, seeming to never sleep, eat, or even breathe. If any person or object approaches the man, however, the dog will immediately become hostile and attempt to destroy the offender. It's quite capable of doing this, able to run in excess of 60 kilometers per hour, jumping 6 meters into the air, and biting through 15 millimeters of titanium. No attempts to neutralize the dog have been successful.
Oh, hell.
During an incident in which
Hey,
the
boy, this
Foundation
boy worse than
attempted to
Cujo.
approach the man and personnel were attacked by the dog, footage shows the man's lips moving, mouthing
Or
the
Max.
words, "No, down boy." So far, the Foundation has decided to simply isolate the two and leave them alone. They did manage to spy the tag on the collar around the dog's neck, which simply reads, "Loyal." Not quite as touching, but exceptionally odd, is SCP-2952,
That's
a
the
Welsh
word for it.
corgi that happens to be over 30,000 kilometers in length. The head and front legs of this entity stick out in Portland, Oregon, while the rear end pops out in Japan, with the body weaving through the Americas, Europe, and much of Asia. The dog doesn't seem to age or require food or water, and will quickly regenerate from any damage done to it. At certain locations throughout its body, small openings will occasionally appear at regular intervals, upon which tiny humanoids will enter or exit the holes. These humanoids cannot be seen directly, only through photography or film. These hole formations do not seem to bother the dog whatsoever, and the humanoids are apparently using the interior of the dog to travel great distances. The holes appear in a number of major cities across various continents, as well as suburban and rural locations. Entering a hole from the left side of the dog takes these passengers east, while the right side takes them west, at about 120 kilometers per hour. The Foundation apparently...
Hey, I've heard about places like this. And don't put it like this. Don't let it go over your head, because this could be an actual event. I mean, not event, but actual scenario or situation where they're using double speaking. So this is the double talk. The dog itself may not necessarily be quote unquote real. The passage may look like a dog, and there may be an actual end to it, and it's a whole tunnel system that's been made to be able to go that fast. In the end, we've heard of this stuff, right? So I just don't think that it's a real dog. Now, I'm not saying that that's not possible in the astral realm. You know what I'm saying? Rather, the spiritual realm. So, but I'll just say here physically, it may be rock mountain resembling, looking like a dog. I could take a picture. Matter of fact, when I go by this one rock, it looks like an eagle's head. See what I'm saying? And it's clearly it's a rock. Now it could be a fossil, but the way the rocks are stacked, it looks like a bird. All right. It probably could even be man-made, but I can just show you an actual picture of rock that looks like an animal. But we've seen several of these
apparently
things.
wasn't
when we
happy
just
with this
scrolling through,
predicament,
my eyes
so
be
they
seeing
worked
stuff.
to
So,
bury all of the exposed
yeah.
portions of the dog's body,
Yeah.
preventing the humanoids from entering the holes. 3 days after this project was finished, the director of the project disappeared from his apartment, with an adult European mole left in his place.
Why y'all got why?
Additionally, over the next 3 weeks, 17 of the construction workers involved in the project found the walls of their homes replaced with a mix of poison ivy and deathcap mushrooms. A researcher who had been in charge of testing the regenerative properties of the dog woke up one morning with poisonous berries in his mouth and stakes of hawthorn driven through his hands and feet. Even the Foundation could figure out that these actions were being perpetrated by the tiny humanoids, and surprisingly, rather than going to war with them, they worked to appease them by uncovering the portions of the dog that contained the holes and monitoring them. If a hole was still being uncovered, a plate of fruits, milk, nuts, and wildflowers would be left nearby, with a note written in Welsh stating that
Always
they're
messing with
sorry
stuff.
for the inconvenience. The dog is appeased by regularly being pet by Foundation personnel. 2 weeks after working to uncover the holes, the mole disappeared from containment and was replaced by the project director, and the poisonous walls were removed from the homes. The injuries committed to the researcher still remain, but, I mean, he was hurting the dog. Sometime later, the dog became invisible to all humans not working for the Foundation, and the humanoids became visible only to Foundation personnel, so the entity has now been reclassified as safe. A few days later, a bird left a note written in Welsh on the desk of the project director, thanking the Foundation for their wonderful customer service, and granting them complimentary transportation on their CORGI system.
It is the Doge dog.
They should send a sparrow to the nearest counsel of the SHE office if they have any further questions. The note was written by G. Foxglove, the Director of Transportation for the Council of the Tylwyth Teg, the Welsh term for fairies. Let's look at a couple of Russian dog SCPs, coincidentally. SCP-4062 is a male Ukrainian shepherd dog that appears to be largely normal in appearance and properties, aside from a lack of aging, except when wet. When wet, the dog will shake continuously until dry, and the intensity of this shaking increases depending on the volume of liquid surrounding it. If fully submerged, the dog's shaking will boil water at standard pressure, causing the water to eventually boil away and the dog to become dry. During this process, the dog requires no oxygen or sustenance and can handle an immense amount of pressure and temperature. If 4062 is unable to bring the surrounding liquid to a boil for some reason, it will shake indefinitely.
That's a hell of a vibration.
This was the original containment procedure for 4062, but the ethics committee ruled that it would be better for the dog's emotional state to simply feed and interact with it normally. 4062 was acquired by the SCP Foundation after capturing a Soviet attack submarine in 1983, after hearing reports that the submarine crew were infected with some sort of anomalous substance. Although these reports turned out to be false, they did discover that the submarine's reactor was of no known design, instead containing SCP-4062, which was generating steam to power the reactor's turbines. The only one on board the vessel who knew about 4062 was engineer Andrei Alexandrov, who was officially listed as a naval nuclear engineer, but personally insisted that he was a canine engineer, and a graduate of the Moscow Engineering Physics Institute Canine Physics and Engineering program. These claims remain unsubstantiated. The rest of the submarine crew were given amnestics and sent back home, but Andrei remains in Foundation custody. So far, no other information gleaned from agents embedded in Russian governments have confirmed other canine engineering projects, and the Foundation has been unable to reproduce 4062, which Andrei insists is a normal dog. In an interview with Andrei, he claims to have no idea what the Foundation means by the word nuclear, and says that the submarine he was on was of the sheepdog class, powered by a standard canine water-boiling reactor. He's surprised that the Foundation has no idea about the canine reactor, as canine technology is the root of Russia's tensions with America, including canine bombs and canine missiles. When the Foundation researcher asks again how a dog can boil water, Andrei sighs, grabs his notebook, and says that it's basic physics. That was a somewhat humorous one, but the next one, not so much. In 1957, in the midst of Russia's space program, Khrushchev ordered that a spacecraft would be launched into space on November 7th, the 40th anniversary of the October Revolution. The goal was to deliver a spectacular mission that would repeat the earlier triumph of the Sputnik 1, the first satellite launched into orbit. It was decided that a single animal would be sent into orbit for the first time, a dog. The dog chosen was named Laika, a stray from the streets of Moscow. The vessel, Sputnik 2, successfully made it into Earth's orbit with Laika inside. A number of hours later, though, the interior of the satellite overheated, and Laika died, thousands of miles from home, alone. That somber note brings us to SCP-2624, an artificial satellite composed of 60 live dogs in a roughly spherical shape 5 meters in radius. 2624 is believed to be located around the remnants of Sputnik 2 in orbit, and each dog is an adult female visually identical to Laika. According to this document, over the course of several hours after Laika's death, these dogs began to appear around Sputnik 2, and several days later, Russia contacted the Foundation to notify them of the situation. It's believed that the creation of 2624 was the result of a malfunction within an anomalous communication system that was meant to be secretly tested during Sputnik 2's mission. Whether the project malfunctioned because of Soviet error or sabotage by the US is anyone's guess. The dogs that make up 2624 can be seen twitching, panting, and breathing, but do not otherwise move. 2624 as a collective is capable of ejecting dogs at velocities exceeding 10 kilometers per second. It seems to use this capability in order to alter its orbit and counteract orbital decay. It then later creates new dogs to bring the number back to around 60. It will also move in this manner to avoid making physical contact with other vessels, making capture difficult. Other phenomena have also been noted, connected in some way with 2624. Around 80% of people who have traveled to space since 2624's creation have reported intermittently hearing faint noises similar to dogs barking. 40% of people who have traveled to space have reported vivid dreams in which a dog or group of dogs that look like Laika attempt to explain the workings of unidentified complex machinery to the dreamer. Since the dogs don't have vocal cords or opposable thumbs, though, this results in the dogs primarily biting the machinery and barking. Also, on at least 3 separate occasions, live dogs identical to Laika have appeared in space or on celestial bodies. The first of these was in 1961, during the first Soviet manned mission to space. The pilot, Yuri Gagarin, reported seeing a single dog floating just outside the porthole of his ship. The dog placed its paws against the porthole and tapped on it rhythmically for several minutes, before floating away. The second occasion was in June of 1965, during the Gemini 4 mission launched by NASA. During a spacewalk, a malfunction in a maneuvering unit caused astronaut Edward White to be thrown unexpectedly around the spacecraft. White's crewmate attempted to reel him back in, and reported seeing a dog identical to Laika in front of him. He then felt a distinct force pushing on his back, maneuvering him towards the hatch of the spacecraft, where White was recovered. The third occasion was in November of 1969, on the surface of the Moon during the Apollo 12 mission. While out walking, astronaut Alan Bean noticed a dog identical to Laika in the distance, running in a small circle. It then ran over to Bean, sitting and looking at him from several meters away. When Bean turned away for a moment and turned back, the dog was gone. A potential fourth occasion might have occurred on February 20th, 2000 in Moscow. Moscow City Police reported finding a dog similar to Laika whining loudly in front of the grave of Vladimir Yadovsky, the scientist who led the Sputnik 2 program. When a police officer attempted to shoo the dog away, they became surrounded by a mob of identical dogs. As they barked at the officer, they each began to hover in the air before vanishing in a flash of white light. It's overall unclear what exactly is going on here, but it does seem that Laika is living on in some sense, and that's alright. Finally, let's bring things back around to the connection between
sounds like Leica is more than meets the eye, and she got a lot more going on. I don't know what y'all created that or spliced her with, but yeah, she's shown great levels of intelligence to the point now where y'all can't even control or contain her or him or it. Let's say it, because yeah, I don't know why you do it though. You know what I mean? See, you go to making stuff that you cannot control, you just lose control of it, and they just evading you. And then now it's got replication
between human and dog with SCP-2420.
Obviously, it can fly.
2420 is a man named John, whose anomalous ability turned any dog that he was aware of or was aware of him into an identical copy of his former pet, a border terrier.
And it can just pop up
These
anywhere.
copies
So
take on the
it's
appearance,
definitely tapping into the
mannerisms,
spirit
and
realm.
memories of
These
his
things
pet,
coming in
and are
energy,
not
you know what I'm saying?
harmed
Like I
in
said,
any way
great
by the
energy and
transformation.
potential. Look, y'all.
When
All right,
moved
hold on.
back outside of John's area of influence, the dogs change back to their normal forms. Again,
Human and
painlessly.
dog. Oh boy, you gonna be surprised.
The
I
transformed
told you,
dogs are
hypertrichosis, man.
completely invulnerable to any form of damage, to the point of being unable
Everybody
to
ain't
have their
got that
fur
shit,
cut
but
off,
it's-
and
yeah,
have no
don't look
need
that
for
shit up.
water or food, although they will eat whatever's presented to them. In an interview with John, it's clear that he has some issues, but he insists that the Foundation can call him whatever they want, but they should refer to his former pet as Maddie. He had gotten Maddie from a neighbor shortly after his parents had both died. The neighbor's dog had mated with another border terrier and had a litter they were looking to get rid of. John noticed Maddie right away, a bit of a bully compared to the other pups, giving him the sense that she had no patience for the other dogs. When he came over, the others jumped up to see him, but she came over last and stared at him. He held his hand out to her and she bit it gently, so he knew he had to take her. According to John, she didn't exhibit any anomalous traits while she was alive, and if he thought that she was actually magic, he wouldn't have been working as a telemarketer. He did think that she was a smart dog, and she could have learned a bunch of tricks if she wanted, but she clearly had no interest, as if learning tricks was beneath her. By his account, though, she was mostly just a normal dog that played with other dogs by chasing them and killed a couple birds and squirrels due to being territorial. Moving on to discuss how she died, John says that it was also sadly normal, as he was out taking her for a walk and she got hit by a car when he wasn't paying attention. People told him afterwards that he was lucky he didn't get hit, but he says he would have preferred it, as maybe he wouldn't have died from the impact like Maddie did. He was jaywalking, and he doesn't blame the driver, but he couldn't stop crying at the time. He picked up her body, went back home and grabbed a shovel and her favorite blanket. He buried her in his backyard in a spot where the shade of the trees didn't reach. Shortly after, he was going to kill himself by jumping off a bridge, although he doesn't know if he actually would have gone through with it. He was interrupted by suddenly seeing copies of Maddie everywhere, all barking at him and trying to get through the gate on the bridge to where he was standing. He figured he was losing his mind, but he ended up later at a dog park, as he thought that he wanted to see some more dogs before dying. Every dog at the dog park was, of course, a border terrier, all running to greet John, which caused quite a ruckus since the other owners could clearly see their dogs suddenly transforming. He knew at that point that they were all, in fact, his former pet, and one came up and gently bit his hand. He fainted at this point, and by the time he recovered, he was in Foundation custody. John asks the doctor if the transformation process hurts the dog in any way, and he's assured that it does not. He then asks if the Foundation is going to hurt them, as he's not stupid, and knows that an organization like this would dissect the dogs to find out how they tick. He begs them not to, though, as he doesn't want any dog to be hurt because of him. He also asks if he can spend some time with one of the changed dogs, as he didn't even get a chance to tell her how good of a girl she was for being magical. Years later, during a routine visiting session between John and a transformed dog,
bro, they can't even
the
scoot.
dog suddenly transformed back into a golden retriever while still being in John's presence. It would seem that John is no longer anomalous since this point, and SCP-2420 has been declared neutralized. An interview was conducted right after this incident, and John says that during the visiting session, everything was normal as they were lounging there together, but he felt something weird. He's noticed that Maddie, or at least the transformed dogs the Foundation has been using, have been looking older. He asks how long he's been here, thinking it's been 6 years, but it's actually been 10. He doesn't think it's actually been 10 years for Maddie since he only sees her for 6 hours a week, but it's likely time doesn't work the same for her. During the session, Maddie knew that the visiting time was almost over, so she hopped off the couch, licked his hand, bit it, and looked him in the eyes. He knew at this point that it was going to be the last time he would see her. He doesn't know how he and Maddie managed to make this anomaly work, but it must have been hard for her. She let go of his hand, barked once impatiently, grinned, and then transformed back into the golden retriever in a moment. He asks at this point if the Foundation is now going to suck out his memories and dump him back in the real world, but the doctor asks if he would prefer that. John doesn't want to go though, as he doesn't want to forget about Maddie. He doesn't want to forget the lengths the two of them went to spend more time together. He's worried that if he goes back into the real world, he'll just end up back on that bridge. The doctor asks if the previous 10 years, whether the medication, the anomaly, or just seeing his dog again, has cured his depression. John says that, of course, Maddie didn't cure his depression, but it felt nice that someone loved him enough to do what she did. She's not magical, though. She was just a dog. It's commonly said that a dog is man's best friend, and enough has been written in the past about the virtues of the dog that I don't really need to expound on it. There isn't really a grand lesson or moral that ties all these SCPs together, but it's more proof that the SCP universe covers a very wide range of themes and topics. While we all know that the cat is the better pet, there's no denying the positive impact that dogs have had on human life.
That should have cured your depression. No, she wasn't. She was more than that, bro. I don't know. See? And that's why I don't knock them. You know what I'm saying? And that is the video, of course. And that's why I don't knock them. They retarded in the muck. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to the intellect of dog and cat, you know what I'm saying? Cat is number one on that one, for real. All right. So Academy, let's go through this real quick. You know what I'm talking about? Because we hit that thing on the Minarch. Yeah, on the Minarch. You feel me? Even trigger words, you feel me? Like actual words that was being called out. You know what I'm saying? Like bullying. Like that was a word that was actually called out. You feel me? She definitely stood by, you know what I'm saying, with the positives. That was definitely ringers, you know what I'm saying? Then we're gonna move over here to the magician card, you know what I'm saying? Great energy and potential. You know what I'm saying? A path guide, pointing out directions and ideas. You feel what I'm saying? And then acts as a bridge. You know, he about to jump out bridge, you feel me, between the astral realm and Earth. So this is Maddie's position. And like I said earlier about the spiritual connection that I have with my dog. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So it's there, and that's why I don't knock them. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to all my dogs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Salute and peace and love to all of you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the dogs, man. They can be everything that we, I guess, so to speak, teach them to be. But some animals aren't just animals, and that's where a lot of people go wrong, because they miss that aspect of reality here. This reality is everything isn't what it looks like. Capable of mental foresight. See what I'm saying? So even like we're down, like, listen, numerology busting today. We're busting with it today, Academy. So yeah, for anybody out there, you know what I'm saying, with the naysayers that say anything that we ain't gonna be able to do, is that yet again we've done it yet again. You know what I'm saying, to prove the point that even down to the number. And this was the first number that hit off, talking about a whole nother dog in a whole nother scenario. But because it started the vid, that's overall was going to be the energy of the vid. That's why we got it all the way through. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yes, sir, on point. But yeah, people miss out on that opportunity to see animals for more than just an animal. See what I'm saying? And of course, I was there at one point as well, and I had to grow out of that. And once I got into these studies, it gave me, and still continuously gives me, a broader spectrum and perspective of the way to look at animals, items, you know what I'm saying, the earth herself, everything. You know what I'm saying? So, it should give you a sense of pride and respect to give, you know what I'm saying, to basically give reverence to animals and items, you know what I'm saying, matter itself, you know what I'm saying, to give reverence to matter itself and respect it for the energies, you know what I'm saying. Like, this dog is vibrating, everything vibrates, so at levels, and animals coming around can lift your vibration. And some animals lay down their lives so you can feast. You see what I'm saying? And nobody really considers, I ain't gonna say nobody, but for the most part, people, you know what I'm saying, in general, I guess we miss that part, or we tend to forget that part about the sacrifice. That's why when it comes to the American Indian and our culture and our traditions, when we would go out and we would do our hunts, the hunt was more than just poaching. You know what I mean? Doing it for sport. No, it was doing it for respect. The animals, like I said in the last one, some animals would actually see the spirit, resonate with the spirit of your body or your avatar so much, or with your soul so much, that they would just lay their lives down for you because they respect you so much. You see what I'm saying? And these are in the cultures that we've been stripped away from, that we're trying to get back into for the most part. But yeah, it's these things that we tend to forget about. So with that being said, I hope y'all got some out of this vid. You know what I'm saying? I hope you got a different perspective. Everything ain't everything. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it could be an alien that we're dealing with. Like, how is that dog able to shake his body so fast that it causes, you know what I'm saying, water around it to start boiling to the point where it evaporates and it becomes gas? See what I'm saying? And that's vibration. It heated up. So the dog is heating up, and it's heating, and the aura got so big that any water around feels the vibration, and it begins to heat up. And this dog is just doing nothing but simply drying itself off with a high level of heat. So that's how they were able to work that. I guess that submarine with steam probably could have used the same mechanism to push a train or something. You know what I'm saying? Back in that time. But yeah, I don't put it past these people to have these things going on, because this ain't nothing but animalistic engineering, splicing, whatever you want to call it. You feel me? And it's a lot of that going on. It's a lot of that's been going on. It's a lot of people around here that's a part of that don't even know they're a part of it. You know what I mean? And it's all good. Still doesn't mean that you shouldn't get your respect. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter about all that. I just feel like everybody should know the truth about everybody and everything and what's going on. And this is one of our ways to do that. And with numerology, that's helping us get even closer, you know what I'm saying, to that mental foresight to know when we're looking at something that, hey, there may be some actual truth to that. You feel me? Instead of just, oh man, that's nothing. Yeah. And then it spins block on you 10 years later, and it be the main subject So I'd rather just be prepared for it, to know what's going on. And even if other people don't believe it, I don't necessarily believe it. Everything is the way that it's being presented. I'll say that. I'll say there's truth in everything, and it's up to us to find it. Because they love to stick the lie between two truths. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. Stick the truth between two lies and just see which one flies. You feel me? But it's up to you guys. All right. So Academy's head on that swivel out there. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget to keep yourself spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally protected. Keep that CT on. Do your due diligence regardless of what subjects that you're dealing with. Ask questions. Never forget to ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask questions, because that's how you get your real answers. And if nobody wants to give them to you, go out there and get them. Because if you're asking the question, believe me, there's an answer for it. Whether it's the answer you want or not, there's an answer for every question. And the information is out there. It's up to you to get it. You feel me? Now, if you just want to be sit back and get bullied